Welcome to the part 1 of my video lecture regarding Gauss-Seidel power law equations. In this lecture, I will discuss how the Gauss-Seidel power law equations was formulated. As a background, Gauss-Seidel calculation method is named after the German scientists Carl Friedrich Gauss and Philipp Ludwig Seidel. It is a method of iteration for solving n number of linear equations with unknown variables. This method is very simple and uses in digital computers for computing. In this lecture, we will consider only a simple system. To start, we have a 3-bus system connected by medium-length transmission line. These lines have series admittance Y12, Y13, and Y23. Since it is a medium-length transmission lines, or above 80 km long, it is modeled as a pi equivalent where the shunt admittance are considered. In examining this type of system, we will first determine the bus admittance matrix of the system. Admittance is the inverse of impedance. By using Kirchhoff's current law at bus number 1, the current entering the bus is equal to the current leaving the bus, which is flowing to bus number 2 and bus number 3 through the transmission line with shunt admittance and series admittance. Our objective is to determine the equation of the current I1 at bus number 1. Looking at the diagram, the current leaving bus number 1 are those current flowing to bus number 2 and bus number 3 via transmission lines with shunt admittance and series admittance. The current flowing from bus 1 to Y120 shunt admittance will be equal to the voltage B1 times Y120, and the current flowing to series admittance Y12 will be equal to B1 minus B2 times Y12. Similarly, the current flowing from bus 1 to bus number 3 is B1 times Y130 and B1 minus B3 times Y13. Therefore, the equation is I1 is equal to Y120 B1 plus Y12 times B1 minus B2 plus Y130 times B1 plus Y13 B1 minus B3. Now grouping the admittances with same B1, so the equation of current injection I1 is equal to Y120 plus Y12 plus Y130 plus Y13 times B1 minus Y12B2 minus Y13B3. For bus number 2, the current entering the bus is I2, while the current leaving are those flowing to lines and to shunt admittance. Using same analysis from previous slides, therefore the current I2 is equal to Y210B2 plus Y21 times B2 minus B1 plus Y230 B2 plus Y23 B2 minus B3. Therefore, the current injection is I2, which is equal to negative Y21 B1 plus the summation of Y210 plus Y230 plus Y21 plus Y23 times B2 minus Y23 B3. For bus number 3, the current entering the bus is I3, while the current leaving are those flowing to lines and to shunt admittance. Using same analysis from previous slides, therefore the current I3 is equal to Y310 B3 plus Y31 times B3 minus B1 plus Y320 B3 plus Y32 times B3 minus B2. So therefore, the current injection in bus number 3 is I3 is equal to negative y31b1 minus y32b2 plus y310 plus y31 plus y320 plus y32 times b3. So these are the current injections for buses 1, 2, and 3. And that equations can be written in matrix form. And this is the matrix form, where the column of current is n by 1. The column of admittance is n by n, which is 3 by 3, and the column of voltage is n by 1. Also, to simplify the matrix, the above matrix can also be written in general form like this. In this matrix, the diagonal elements y11, y22, and y33 are the summation of self-admittance, while the off-diagonal elements are called as transfer admittance or mutual admittance. The self-admittance y11 is equal to the summation of y120, y12, y130, and y13. The self-admittance for bus number 2 is y22, which is equal to y210 plus y21 plus y230 plus y23. And for bus number 3, the self-admittance is y33, which is equal to the summation of y310, y31, y320, and y32. While the off-diagonal elements are the series admittance of the line between buses, and these admittances are symmetric. We can write the above matrix in simplest form as I bus is equal to Y bus B bus, and it is called as bus admittance matrix or Y bus matrix. Now, what are the characteristics of Y bus matrix? Number 1, dimensions of Y bus is n by n, where n is the number of bus. Y bus is symmetric matrix because y12 is equal to y21 is equal to negative y12. Y bus is a sparse matrix up to 90% to 95% sparse. Sparse means not all bus bars are connected to each other. Number 4, diagonal elements yii are obtained as algebraic sum of all elements incident to bus I. And the last, the off-diagonal elements yij is equal to yji are obtained as negative of admittance connecting bus I and bus j. If we look to this matrix, we can write that I1 is equal to yy11 times b1 plus yy2 times b2 plus y13 times b3. This is an algebraic equation, and this can be written in general form or index form, which is ik is equal to summation of yki bi from I is equal to 1 to n, where k and I is equal to 1 to up to n. For example, if we have bus k, then the current injection is Ik and the voltage is Vk. So the complex power equation is Sk is equal to Vk times the conjugate of Ik, also equal to Pk plus Jqk. This equation is composed of complex elements, or we call it as a phasor with magnitude and angle. So for voltage Vk, we assign an angle as delta k. So the phasor is Vk with angle delta k. For bus voltage Vi, we assign an angle of delta I. So the phasor is V1 delta I. For Y admittance Yki, we assign an angle of delta Ki. So the phasor is yki angle delta ki. So from this equation, we will substitute the phasor of bus voltage Bk and Bi and also the phasor of Y admittance of the line. Therefore, the equation will become Pk plus Jqk is equal to Bk exponent J delta K times open parenthesis summation of Yki E J delta Ki times Bi E J delta I from I equals to 1 up to n. From exponential law, multiplying the phasors, the angle will be added. So the equation will become Pk plus Jqk is equal to Bk times summation of Yki Bi e to the j times delta k minus delta I minus delta ki from I is equal to 1 to n. Delta ki and delta I is negative because it is a conjugate. We will notice that this equation is in polar form. Since this equation is in polar form, then converting it to rectangular form, we get Pk plus Jqk is equal to Bk summation from I equals to 1 to n of Yki Bi times cosine open parenthesis delta k minus delta I minus theta ki plus j sine delta k minus delta I minus theta ki. This is an equation of apparent power. So to dissect it into real and reactive power, we get Pk is equal to Bk times summation from I equals to 1 to n of Yki Bi cosine delta k minus delta I minus theta ki. And the reactive power is Qk equals to Bk times the summation from I equals to 1 to n of Yki Bi sine delta k minus delta I minus theta ki. So these are the characteristics of power flow equations. Number 1, the power flow equations are algebraic static system because it does not involve derivative or differential equations. It means that Gauss-Seidel mathematical solution does not need calculus. Number 2, power flow equations are nonlinear, iterative solution because it involves trigonometric functions, i.e. sine or cosine. So Gauss-Seidel is an iterative solution. And number 3, it relates PQ in terms of voltage and angle delta. It means that P and Q is a function of voltage and angle delta. The characteristic of variables are loads PL and QL. It is an uncontrolled disturbance variables. Loads are only controlled by consumers, not by system operator. Generation PG and QG is a controlled variables. Power system operator has control on what the generator will generate. And 3, the voltage and angle theta is the state variables. If we know these variables, we can calculate other variables. In analyzing the power system, for a given operating conditions, loads and generation at all buses are known or specified. Then find the voltage magnitude and angle at each bus. The total generation variables PG and QG cannot be specified as losses are not predetermined. Solution is to choose one bus as reference bus where voltage magnitude and angle are specified or given. The losses are assigned to this bus and this bus is called as slack bus. The explanation for this power flow problem is that one of the problem that we will face when solving power flow equations is that the total generation variables PG and QG cannot be specified since the losses are not yet known. Even if we know the loads, we cannot know what the generation in order to satisfy the loads because the losses in the transmission lines are not yet known. It will be known only after we determine the various flows in the transmission lines. So if we know the current flowing in each line, then we can find the losses taking place in each line. So unless we know the voltages at all the bus bars, we cannot find the current flowing in each line, and therefore we do not know the losses. So if we don't know the losses, we cannot specify the generations because the total generation must be equal to the loads plus the transmission line losses. The classification of bus bars are: number 1, swing bus. There is only one swing bus, which for convenience is numbered as bus number 1. The swing bus is a reference bus for which B1 delta 1 typically equal to 1.0 per unit with angle of 0 degrees, specified as input data. The power flow program computes P1 and Q1. Number 2, the load bus. PK and QK are specified input data. Power flow program computes BK and delta K. Number 3, voltage control bus or PV bus. BK and PK are input data. Power flow program computes QK and delta K. Examples are buses in which generators, switch shunt capacitors, static bar system are connected. Maximum and minimum bar limits, QG max and QG minimum that this equipment can supply are also input data. Another example is a bus in which tap changing transformer are connected. The power flow program computes the tap setting. This is the end of part 1 of my video lectures about Gauss-Seidel power flow equations. Thank you, and please watch the part 2 about phasor voltage equation of Gauss-Seidel power flow calculation. Thank you and God bless.